10 Unbreakable Records. For us humans, life is like this huge canvas we're allowed to paint on in our image. Now, it is completely up to us how we use it. While most of us live pretty much all of our lives mired in mediocrity, there are certain unique individuals who have this certain hunger to test themselves to the limits and put themselves in uncomfortable situations and achieve what would seem impossible to most of us. Today, we've put together a list of some really jaw-dropping records that some of our fellow humans have set and are unlikely to be bettered by anyone in the future. And while all these records are going to stand out, do look out for a couple of records that really prove our theory that it is only when we test ourselves to our limits that we find out our true selves. Make sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe with notifications so you never miss a video. If you do subscribe and you've left a like, leave a comment saying I subscribed and I'll reply to all of you saying thank you. Number 10. Pulling a plane without breaking a sweat. When it comes to showcasing inhuman strength, Kevin Fast's name should always be on the top of such lists. The Canadian has carved quite a reputation for himself after doing some seriously heavy pulling throughout his life. Apart from being powerlifting goals for those of us who go to the gym a lot, the resident of Cobourg regularly shows up in Highland-style games in North America and is actually a priest at the St. Paul's Lutheran Church. From pulling a vehicle with a basic arm wrestling move, to pulling a house weighing 36 tons, to pulling a whopping 15 cars, Mazda 3s in case you're wondering, Mr. Fast is a man unlike any other you would see. Back in September 2009, Kevin Fast managed to pull a 188.83-ton CC-177 Globemaster II plane to a distance of 8.8 meters. However, like time, distance is relative to Fast, who claims that he had been able to carry the plane like a rag doll even further had the management not placed a finish line in front of him. And while most of you might find his claim to be a little too far-fetched, it doesn't surprise us given the fact that we're talking about a man who was only 12 when he picked up his first set of dumbbells. Clearly, he hasn't looked back since. Number 9. A movie that makes Avatar's success appear overhyped. Gone with the Wind was an American drama history movie from 1939 directed by Victor Fleming that revolved around the lives of a truly manipulative woman and a rather fiendish man who fell in love with one another during the Civil War era. And while this is a movie that most millennials might not have heard about, if it was directed today, it would have been pummeling all the movies that would have been winning the Oscars of late. Taking into account inflation, Gone with the Wind is actually the highest grossing movie of all time. Using the conversion metrics, this movie would have generated a cumulative box office revenue of around $3.4 billion and sold 255.7 million tickets. Now, imagine how the movie's numbers compare to those of Avatar that coughed up 78.3 million ticket sales. Number 8. The Metal Muncher. French entertainer Michel Lotito made a name for himself doing one thing that pretty much 99.99% of people on the planet cannot do. He used to eat metal. While life can be unfair at times and throws some really weird curveballs our way, Michel found a way around it. So how did Michel manage to bump into this unusual craving? Well, a legend says that he once shattered a glass and started chewing the fragments. However, the most logical reason was that Michel had a rare condition known as pica, which saw the Frenchman develop quite the taste for unusual items. And while most human beings wouldn't survive by eating such inedible items, Michel could actually consume just about everything safely. The late Frenchman holds the record of eating over 9 tons of metal in his life, which also included a Cessna 150 airplane. Yep, that's right, a whole plane. Number 7. The Creepy Fingernail Guy. Now, when it comes to grooming, most of us are very careful about our finger and toenails. Women are perhaps way better than men when it comes to taking care of their fingernails, which is perhaps the reason why a woman would never aim to have her nails grow to the size of a car or a bus. Sridhar Shilal clearly had one dream in life: to be considered that man who had the longest fingernails in the world. The resident of Pune in India decided that it would be actually quite cool to not clip off his fingernails for 66 years. And as the world started evolving from analog to digital and a few nations came into being, the nails grew and grew. But hey, Shilal was a clever man. He knew that mobility was also important in life, so he decided to grow nails only on his left hand. Eventually though, Shilal had enough and decided to have them cut. But hey, if you want to look at the nails, you can always travel to New York City's Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum and see the grotesque structures yourself. just to add a bit of diversity, we'll tell you about Ayanna Williams, who currently holds the record for the longest fingernails in the world. She has been growing her nails for over 20 years. However, unlike her Indian counterpart, Ayanna loves taking care of her nails and says that it takes her a whole week and 2 bottles of polish to keep her nails in mint condition. Her husband is very cooperative too, since he ensures that he is the one who does the dishes so that his wife's nails don't get ruined. On top of that, she has a special pillow for her nails when she goes to sleep in the night. Number 6. Diamond in the Rough. The tale of Africa and its diamonds is a sad story of vanity, blood, sweat, and tears. For several decades, Africa has been the hotbed of illegal diamond sale around the world. So before we talk about the record, we just want you to know that it would be very responsible of you if you only bought a diamond that was excavated through legal means. Back in 1905, the world's largest diamond was found in the premier diamond mine in Cullinan, South Africa. The diamond was 3,106.75 carats and was worth around 400 million. To this day, no diamond has ever come close to matching the size of the Cullinan diamond. Number 5. Wadlow the Tall One. According to several archaeological digs, there was once a time when giant human beings roamed the earth. However, for some reason, which we will try to discuss in another video, they don't exist anymore. But even now, there have been several people whose heights would not be put under the normal category. Take, for example, Robert Wadlow, who measured at 8 feet 11.1 inches back in 1940. Robert had hyperplasia in his pituitary gland, which is why he experienced a very rapid growth rate. In order to survive, he had to consume at least 8,000 calories every day. Sadly though, Wadlow passed away at the age of 22. Over the years, a lot of tall people have walked this planet, but no one has ever been able to come close to Wadlow's height. But hey, we have 3 more tall athletes to tell you about, since their heights make them the tallest athletes in their respective sports. Boban Marjanovic is currently the tallest player in the NBA with a height of 7 feet and 4 inches, still shorter than Yao Ming, who is 7'7". Giant Silva was the tallest wrestler in the world and measured at 7 feet 3 inches. Currently, Great Khali is the tallest active wrestler in the world and measures 7 feet 2.5 inches. In cricket, Pakistan International, Mohammad Irfan is the tallest person to have ever played the game. The left-arm wizard is 7 feet 1 inch and produces lengths that make it hard for batsmen to hit him out of the park. Number 4. The Big Mac Monster. All of us have had this craving to gobble as many Big Macs as we could. It is definitely one of the most accessible things to eat, and the order doesn't really take a long time to be processed. However, Donald A. Gorsk was simply obsessed with the Macs and took his love for burger binge to another level by eating Macs on a daily basis for 40 years. In 2006, he finally earned his entrance into the Guinness Records Chamber after having consumed 29,000 Big Macs. We have to say this guy deserves a lifetime supply of these burgers for free. However, we do wonder if consuming so many burgers in a lifetime has an impact on his health. Research shows that consuming a lot of burgers, and yes, it is considered part of the junk food family, can have serious repercussions on one's health. Number 3. Piercing for competition. While piercing can definitely add a whole new dimension to your aura, it can be a dangerous process if the needles aren't clean or the artist doesn't know what he's doing. Currently, the record for the most piercings in the world is held by Brazil's Elaine Davidson, who so far has pierced her skin 4,225 times. But more than just this record, Elaine has a chronic habit of adding and removing jewelry from her body all the time. And while we never really miss out on a lot when it comes to conjuring amazing lists on a daily basis, there's always a chance that we might have missed out on something really cool. This is why we have you to thank for. The next item on the list comes straight from one of our most active followers. The tip of our hat to you. So, if you ever come across something that you feel needs to be a part of our daily dose of the bizarre, amazing, heartwarming, or plain cool, do send it over to us and we might even feature it in one of our upcoming videos. Number 2. The Tongue Lifter. While there are a few benefits of having a tongue that we can think of off the top of our heads, Thomas Blackthorne has one use of his tongue which is unheard of. Blackthorne loves lifting things with his tongue. For 6 years, he trained himself to hold 27 pounds with his tongue for 5 seconds. Throughout those sessions, he has had his tongue pierced, but the maverick lifter doesn't like to give up and still holds the record for lifting the most amount of weight with his tongue.
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
Number 1. Filing lawsuits for fun. There are times when we feel that companies or individuals have been unfair to us, and in order to seek justice and, of course, some moolah, we file lawsuits. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. However, there's always a limit to the amount of lawsuits we can file. These legal procedures can be tiring and in many cases futile endeavors that only bring disappointment if we don't have the best lawyers on our side. However, Jonathan Lee Riches is literally taking the mickey out of the justice system. A former federal prisoner, Riches loves filing lawsuits. It's like he's a man who would go ahead and file a lawsuit to Earth if he bumped into a rock while going for a hike. To date, he has filed lawsuits on the likes of Bill Gates and Pope Benedict XVI. It is clear that Riches loves filing lawsuits. Or perhaps it is some kind of chronic condition that people of science haven't discovered yet. Or perhaps time behind bars has had quite an effect on him. In order to honor his outlandish achievement, Guinness has put his name in its sacred list. And guess what? After finding out that his name is in the list, he proceeded to sue Guinness.